Whoa.
Reminder, many plaza is on the market background or gym, at least not all at once.
Hello, everyone. Oh, sorry. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the video or the stream. Hopefully, you all are having a wonderful day. So today, guys, we are playing some Arc Raiders. And if you're watching this past stream date, well, thank you for stopping by. Today, we're going to be mainly doing trials. Because at the time of this stream, there's a day left to complete this week, so I haven't done any of it, and I really want to get to Wildcard or Daredevil 1, so yeah, we're gonna be trying to do that. But anyway, guys, yeah, that's what we got. That's what we got planned for the stream. So hopefully you all enjoy, and we are going to be listening to the Joe Rogan podcast on Spotify while we do this as well. So let's go ahead and get that set up. Anyway, guys, with that said, let's go ahead and hop into the stream.
We go. I always know the conversation is going to get off to a good start when I meet a fellow Lenny Bruce fan.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, that was, I, you know, there's that line in Fight Club, the things you own end up owning you.
Yeah.
And I generally am not a stuff guy, but when I came in here, I did find myself going, this is the right kind of place to keep stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been wandering around looking at things, and that was my favorite thing that I saw. You have a couple of great Lenny Bruce posters.
Yeah,
one of which I've never seen.
Which one? Oh,
the
Without
one
Tears?
with his, where
Yeah.
it's really wild. He looks like an Indian guru or something,
Yeah.
staring into the middle distance. That's an amazing photograph of him.
Yeah, I kind of bought as much vintage Lenny Bruce stuff as I could find. And this place has sort of evolved into a semi-gallery. You know, it's. I would like to have a house with nothing in it, and then have this
Yeah.
place just filled with shit.
No, I kind of agree with that. Also, I think that it's fun when you have people come through a space so that you're actually like sharing the things. Like it's sort of like you're letting someone come in and wander.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the best museums in the world are people's individual curation. Some of the best art collections ever made are better than any museum because they're put together by someone, and you're finding like the threads and things. You know?
Yes.
So I think when you can assemble like things that have meant something to you, but you can put them in a space where other people can bump into them, it's better than just like than letting them just collect dust in your own home where you stop looking at them. You know.
You have a very unusual perspective for someone who makes their living as an actor.
What do you mean? Why do you think so?
You're a very thoughtful person. Like, very thoughtful.
I know a lot of thoughtful actors.
I do too.
Yeah.
But it's not common. You got to find them.
Oh,
you
you
got
know
to
what?
curate those folks.
Yeah, it's a funny gig by definition. It's like if you think about all the like the yin yang in it, the paradoxes in it. It's like on the one hand, with guys as actors, there will be a lot of there's a certain kind of not macho, but there's like men will play intense roles and
Right.
these things. But what you're doing is like it's We're playing dress up. Like you're like, and I always like the Dorothy Parker, the famous New York writer, said scratch an actor, you'll find an actress. And I think it's the greatest line. It's not how it sounds. Just be a little, that's not a knock on actresses.
No.
Or but that's the real truth of the whole thing. Is like we put on makeup, we put on clothes, we play dress up, and we pretend to be other people. And it's like it really is like, when people are like, sometimes my brother and sister will laugh because I've done these certain things that have a certain kind of iconic intensity or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they look at me and they're like, "Are you kidding? Like, have you ever seen the size of his ankles?" They're like, "My brother's like, he's such a twerp. Like, my brother's like 2 inches bigger than me and 30 pounds bigger and way stronger. My little brother." And and it's always like, he's a theater nerd. He's not like tough. They're like, don't
when you
buy
played the Hulk.
Yeah, no. But
or American History
yeah.
X. Yeah.
I do think there's it's really funny the way there's a posture in it. Sometimes there's like a public facing posture that some people who are in this trade, this weird thing, will adopt. And it's like, hey man, I hate to tell you, but like you don't have to live into it. I sometimes feel like people are compensating for the fact that what they do, in fact, is play dress up.
Right. Do you think it's also that they have to kind of project this image to ensure that they get more of these tough guy roles, or
maybe I don't know.
Oh shoot.
I think or maybe it's like that's who they wanted to be. Maybe in a weird way they're living into. Some people, I think, they relish the opportunity to change the story of who they are. You know what I mean? They're getting to through getting well known. They're getting this chance to sort of like wipe the slate of whatever it is they were getting away from, and they're getting to the chance to sort of create a persona that they're happier with than what they've been before.
Right, like what they wish they always were.
Yeah.
At their darkest time.
Yeah, or
has just been activated.
there's I also think there's a funny thing, which is there's this history of famous actors, right? So I do think it sort of begins with Brando, because Brando had such an enormous effect on the psychology of men in America. He really like, and if you look at what I would call like that great generation of American actors.
What's up, brothers?
Dustin
What is up, my peoples?
Gene Hackman, Al Pacino, Morgan Freeman, Meryl Streep, like the whole that's all like the post-Brando generation. All of those people, literally all of them, wanted to become actors because of Marlon Brando, and he so rewrote the idea of what it was, what it could be, that it was like
Or like what Lenny did with comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are these people who come and they have like a kind of a permanent. They're a permanent before and after in a certain kind of field.
What's up, brother? I'm doing trials.
And yes, I would say so. In rock.
It's the first time I see so many friendly people.
It is interesting when you go back and look at rock in that era.
At the same time.
There's that famous story of, I don't remember if it's like Pete Townsend.
God bless you guys.
Clapped and with him to your head.
God bless you too, brother.
About it.
Yeah, I heard that story.
But you also can't discount
Do you wanna
there's those famous photos of the wall clap.
start getting a
Like, there's
I'm doing trials, so I'm probably wrong.
underrate what Clapton did to guitar, and in that era too.
Right, no, he was phenomenal, but it was a different thing.
There was a different thing. To me, Hendrix was a pro.
He seemed like he broke through to a new dimension.
Yeah, I agree.
He
Yeah, I
popped
agree.
through the membrane of existence into this new set. And there's guys that are like, there's people that have a disguise.
No, I can't.
Gary Clark Jr. is a phenomenal blues guitarist.
Okay.
And he has a sound that's almost instantaneously recognizable as Gary Clark Jr. You hear him and you go, oh my God, there it is. Like everyone who works with him is just like they just walk away sweating, just going, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Phenomenal.
I feel that way about Willie Nelson. I think Willie Nelson is legitimately in country music, like there's before and after Willie Nelson. Like, and you can say that he, you know, that Hank Williams Jr. or whatever but Willie Nelson to me is the hinge around which it goes from being something that had, you know, it had a natural Grand Opera kind of polish.
Yo, what's
to
up,
it.
brother? You
And
friendly?
he basically took it, he reclaimed it as this
Okay.
like American roots thing, and put jazz in it. Anyone who plays music knows that Willie Nelson is essentially a jazz guitar player. Like, and he you know, Redheaded Stranger is, to me, that's a before and after kind of a thing too. Like, there's that whole outlaw thing, and I think there's a whole lot of. It's almost like after that, there's two camps. There's still going to be like the Steve Earle in his Copperhead Road thing is more the posh thing, but then there's like Steve Earle who's Steve Earle, you know what I mean? It's like he almost like straddled it, but my point about Brando was just that like he changed the idea of the type of person that male actors wanted to be. Suddenly it was like they wanted to have like a patina or a visceral. They wanted to be visceral, not polished. They wanted to be muscular. They wanted to be masculine. They wanted to be intense. Like, and those were not the words that people used to this very brand. Like that is not what they were aspiring to polish, a kind of a polish before Brando. And
There was an
after
authenticity,
Brando.
right?
Yeah.
There's something to his performances where you go, oh well, this is more like real life than a fit like on the waterfront. Like the I could have been a contender thing.
Yeah.
Like when he's doing that, you're like, well, this is how someone would actually behave if they felt like their life had been a disaster and could have been avoided.
Well, you just hit on something though that it drives me nuts because when people sort of talk about Brando, they're like, you know, there's sort of the Stanley Kowalski, the brutal masculinity, etc. The thing about Brando is that he is beautiful. He's kind of this enormous Roman-looking guy, but where he really kills is this kind of broken sensitivity that he had. And I could have been a contender is not a tough guy speech. It's the opposite. It's a broken tough guy. It's a guy practically crying, saying like, you were my brother, and you should have looked out for me. I needed you looking out for me, and my life's gone down the toilet.
Brethren.
In that moment, you didn't look out for me. It's you know, it's like tearful. It's not. And
Yo, you guys wouldn't happen to have found an extra anvil or like something?
Is really, it's like when he falls on his knees in front of his wife and cries. You know what I mean? It's like that's what he was way better in a lot of ways to me. It's the fact that he was actually kind of in touch with his emotional life. It's not that he was like so macho at all.
Do you happen to have an extra anvil
Looked
on
that
you?
way, but he actually has like poetic sensitivity.
Yes, and it was. It
see, I'm like not
resonated
as-
real. Like it felt real.
Yeah.
No, wait.
If you watch actors
No, I
before
just have
him,
that one.
there was a certain
I have that one in the.
undeniable
Arpeco,
theatrical
whatever.
element to what they were doing. That was like, oh,
Are you
this
doing
guy's
the thing with
acting.
them?
Yeah.
Whereas he was.
I'm doing
he
trials right
seemed
now.
like a guy who was really living.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you want to loot this
Yeah.
room with me, I haven't looted it fully.
Oh, you're good,
Sometimes
brother.
I think it sounds
You're
silly to
good.
say the instrument of the
I
person, but
looted
he
upstairs.
has
There wasn't
those
much,
crazy-
so.
He looks the way he looks, but he's got
Oh.
this marble mouth.
If you want that, if you want this,
He's not articulate. He doesn't come off as
no, I only have one of them.
like there's a mushiness to the way he's.
Appreciate it, brother.
You can enjoy it.
Yeah, it doesn't have style. You know, the guys before that, you felt that they were working on their style,
Yeah.
and he seemed to be shirt. He kept present in the moment.
I think it was all accentuated by the way he ended his life. Like the end of his life, he was enormous.
Yeah.
Gigantic fat guy. Just giving in. It was just this guy. He's a beautiful man.
Yeah.
He just.
How much and he's like, even when he was doing Clay Streetcar that made him famous, he was telling me like he would get with his pal Diego and go up and go to clubs and hit on girls and all these things. And I said, you weren't aware of what was going on. He goes, well, I was aware of a certain amount of noise rising.
Attention all raiders. The west antenna has been
I feel like I would rob
That's what
myself.
Yo.
and
Guys.
Wait on
You
his
guys see
hand.
the antennas?
If-
on the
No, okay, so that anvil right there,
it's like what
level is it?
Like after that,
This is a level
like there was
2.
no
And then I
boundaries.
have
He was getting everything
legendary
was-
mag on it, I think.
he
Here,
wasn't gonna be able to resist. He
would you
wasn't
be willing to
disciplined.
trade for an anvil
He
4?
wasn't a super disciplined
and you
person.
could take
He was
that
a very
attachment
poetic
off?
person. And I don't think he was disciplined. I don't think that a
Sure.
lot
How
of
do
what
I don't?
happened,
Let
he
me
had
let me
less
see
than
how
7
I.
children. And he got
Check.
he had appetites and
I mean, you don't have to.
I don't-
You don't want to.
I think
No,
that,
I don't care. It's not. It's just a game. If you want it,
I
brother.
do think that
Detach mods. There you are.
struggle.
Anvil splitter
to,
tech mod for anvil that replaces bullets
to
in one that's
deal
split into
with
4 weaker. There you go.
all the
Wait.
things that came with.
Here you go, sir.
being
Oh, wait,
a
oh wait, I should have just dropped the gun.
Being
Wasn't
that
that
famous
was really
there
retarded.
wasn't really a lot of examples of how to do it right or wrong.
No,
What
that's
I just did. Ignore that.
Yeah.
Ignore ignore
It's
that.
sort
I
of the
don't know why I
Elvis
did
thing,
that.
right?
It's the Elvis thing. The flip is like Dylan, who I still find myself.
Do you have
like
it?
when you watch the new Scorsese.
Oh, I just want the
that thing,
anvil.
Rolling Thunder.
Oh,
It's
okay, you
really
don't
worth
want- okay.
watching that.
You can
Oh,
have
we
this.
did drop. What was that? Dude, I'm brain dead right now. What is going on?
Here's this
Here you
guy.
go.
He's like in his early 20s.
Appreciate it,
and
brother.
They're coming
I
at
just-
him with all this like.
It was about to run out of
Like,
durability,
that's something
so
I can relate to, man.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
fine.
and
Are
he's-
you doing
and
this
he's
challenge
going-
with them, or are you?
Like, I can't help
I'm shooting
wondering if
a flying
Bruce
arc right
Dylan,
now.
I don't know that.
Oh, okay.
But I
Well,
would
enjoy
think
it, brother.
that
Enjoy the
Bruce
anvil.
was too
Thank you,
deep
brother.
for Dylan, because
Yeah,
Dylan's
of course.
thing was like, don't ask me what it means, man. I wrote it. I don't know what it means. What do you think it means? He was just constantly buzz off, man. He was 21 years old. Like, who resists? Who resists people falling all over them to call them great when they're that age?
Right.
Nobody.
Right.
Nobody has that kind of like sensibility to go, everything you're bringing at me is going to be bad for me. And it's like if you watch those interviews with him when he's that age, it's pretty astonishing. Because to your point, like, I look at him and I'm like, nobody has that discipline at that age.
Yeah, it's amazing how you need from the time in that very strange, tumultuous time.
And not only that, right at the moment that like Joni Baez brings him out on the stage at the Newport Folk Festival and basically goes, "This is the Prince. I anoint you. He's the one. He's Neo. He is the one." And the next year, take 1 year to go. Let me just lean into your love. The next year he comes with an electric guitar and plugs it in at the Newport Folk Festival, and people start screaming in agony, like going, "What are you doing? You can't plug in a guitar." And people are like running to try to cut his cords with an axe in this thing. Like, that's how much. Like, there's people yelling traitor at him, and he's going, "I don't."
Don't worry, boys. I have a defib. I have a defib. I have a defib. Does anyone need a defib?
Like, enjoy. But you're not like it because where I'm going, you're gonna be, and eventually you're gonna catch up. It really is amazing. I mean,
That was unprecedented.
This feels good. You know.
Well, it's always weird when you see somebody leaning into something and it's not really them and they become what people
This is a field day for me.
oh, it's him, he's here.
Nice.
You become a caricature. You
Yeah.
become this thing. Like Dice Clay is another example. Like Dice Clay used to be, that used
Yo,
to be
do you
one
need
part of
a,
the job. His name
cat bed?
is Andrew Silverstein.
Oh, no, I don't.
Act. And then the Dice Man was a character he would do.
appreciate it.
People loved it so
Yeah,
much when he would do that character, that the character became his whole act. And then he became the character. Whereas you see him in real life, he's wearing like weightlifting gloves and, you know, walking around in a Gold's Gym t-shirt. He became that guy. It's hilarious still. But he's that guy.
Now it's kind of out the backside of it. When you say,
Do people fight here? Like, do I have to be
it's like
prepared for
acting
war?
and things.
He does
and
do
he's-
that in
and
Usually
well.
not.
Yeah,
But he still does the same kind of stand-up. You'll see it. It's still hilarious, irreverent, just
We're all friendly here, so we should be good. Watch out
like
for that wasp.
not of this era.
Well, let me ask you a question because I think it's interesting. I think
Last game.
in that Howard Stern, isn't it? Nothing tricky about him at all. He's really like down in his shoes. He's interested. He actually asks that you're a mirror, and they're just looking at themselves while they speak to you.
They're waiting.
Yeah. But what's really interesting is like, so Howard, imagine the pressure. I grew up in the Baltimore area. He was on DC radio. He was on DC 101. I remember the shock of it, and imagine, you know, the pull to deliver on what you've built. Obviously, an audience that wants to me, it's really interesting. And I'm saying, like, I don't know him, but watching it, to me, this idea that he's kind of said, hey, look, I'm going to be honest about where I'm at, and in some measure I'm going to say there's things I've done I regret. There's ways I've treated certain people in the interest of the show that I'm kind of done with that. I don't really want to be that guy. And in some measure, you know, you kind of say to your audience, like, you got to deal with me where I am now.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Now
It's also he's so there's no a gigantic debt of gratitude to Howard Stern. The fact that, you know, he was getting fined by the FCC.
Yeah.
They were hundreds of thousands of dollars. He kept getting fired from radio stations. He kept doing the way he did it, and it changed the way people do talk radio.
Honestly, the fact that we can, the fact that we've talked as long as we've talked up to now, of him proving that there was basically, I'm like, anything. There's an amazing thing going on in the world right now. People are reproving or reconnecting with the fact that for all of what goes on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all this bullshit, like, the truth is people like and have the appetite for, and their brains enjoy longer form conversations.
Yes.
And longer form stories more than it was assumed they did. You know what I mean? And like, popular culture feeds us a lot of like fast food and Xanax and like a speedball of of you can't handle anything. You don't want anything more than literally like a little bit of junk food with a little bit of Xanax. Because you just want to lie on the couch and watch someone else save the world. I know that's all you want, but that is not true. And I think like, you know, you look at things like from Peaky Blinders to Chernobyl to like the Ken Burns Civil War series. Like we're going through this thing where people are realizing like, no, that's not actually true. People actually like you, my pal Dax, you know, Shepard, who's got a great radio show. People like to listen to people have actual conversations.
Well, they're also listening, and it's a new way of ingesting entertainment. Like you're getting it in your car, you're getting it in your ears when you're at the gym, when you're on the subway, or the bus, or plane, and you're getting these stimulating long-form conversations that these people didn't even know they wanted. You know?
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody loves a great conversation with someone, so it's like you get to have that conversation without participating.
Right. And Stern definitely was like, we were talking about before and after, like it was talk radio, but it kind of starts there. I think you started to be like, I can listen to this guy for a long time. Yeah,
he broke through the membrane. Like we were talking about Hendrix entering into a new dimension of sounds. He broke through the membrane of talk radio, and what he's doing now is, well, now he's a man in his 60s who's extremely wealthy, and he has I'm sure, some regrets, as you were talking about the things that he's done in the past and said in the past. And he's also like, this is who he is now. He's not going to pretend that he's just wants to bring strippers in and have them ride the Sibian every day. And when people get upset that he's changed, well, I hope you change too, man.
Yeah.
I hope everybody changes.
No, that's what I mean. True. Yeah. It's true. It's not quite Dylan when he's 24 and being anointed, plugging in a guitar. But I do think when people sort of go, hey, I'm gonna be where I am.
Yes.
And you got to deal with it.
Right.
That's positive, I think.
Well, it's definitely better than leaning into it and being what people want you to be, and then be struggling with that and tortured by that.
I actually think most of people I think that mostly ends up badly.
Yes. Yeah, I think whenever you don't go with whoever you actually are, and whenever you don't acknowledge that whoever you actually are has changed, you know, if you're growing and learning and having these epiphanies and these realizations about yourself and where you fit into your own life and how you've interacted with people in your life, you're not making adjustments, and you're only doing it that way because you think that's what people expect of you. Well, you're a prisoner to your own first incarnation.
Yeah.
You know, the first thing that people saw, and that was Kinnison. Wow, wow! Right. And he's kind of a prisoner to that forever.
Yeah.
And acknowledged it.
Yeah,
you know?
it's why anybody who it's not even act 2. Anybody who keeps doing interesting things through phases is even more impressive.
Yeah, that's also. Is it hard as an actor too if you get an iconic role and then you are sort of always remembered for being that guy in that thing? Like how much of a is it a hard transition to go from an iconic role to going into your next role? Would people still want to talk about the big movie that you were in just a year or two ago?
That hasn't been a big thing for me. I think I tend to take a bit of time between things, and also I don't know, when I like the first thing I did kind of popped off pretty hot, and then everyone's like saying, it's like the psychotic, interesting characters. And I was like, well, I think I'll do a musical with Woody Allen. You know what I mean? And wear a plaid jacket and do a dance number in Harry Winston's like
switch it up.
Yeah, and then what's really weird is I did that first. I played this lawyer. I played a young lawyer in the Larry Flint film, right? Which and off of that, I get this distinct vibe of like, hey, the next John Bush movie
while most of Toledo is asleep.
The way you were talking
say that Ark is twice as vigilant after
John Bush
sunset.
thing is the young lawyer or whatever. And I remember I met Francis Coppola was going to direct the Rainmaker, this Grisham thing. I was up for it. I didn't get it. Matt Damon got it.
What's up, brother?
I didn't do some
I hope you don't mind if I stop through with you.
I was like Francis Coppola. I was like, I want this, you know.
Yeah.
I think, but when I was talking to him about it, and thinking to myself, this seems a little square, but it's like Francis Coppola, you know what I mean? And
Yo, you mind if I goop up with you?
Yeah, no, let's
What
go.
are you interested
Fucking good, brother.
I was telling him about Matt Davis, this American History X, and that we were working on it. I was kind of telling him what we were trying to do with it and how we
There's
wanted
a renegade in here if you want.
guerrilla, you know, thing. And he was like, "You should do that. You should do that immediately."
An augment
And I was
blueprint
like,
and this
well,
one.
I was like, don't, I was like, don't cancel,
did?
don't, you know,
Blueprint?
I still
No,
want to do this
both
with
of
you.
these-
He's like, no,
this
I think you
fucking
should
gun
do
case in the
like
ground and that
the way you're
locker
talking about
augment
that. And he
blueprint.
said, if you do that,
Oh,
now
wow.
they'll never know what to do. Like they'll never be able to put you in a box, kind of, because that's just, you know, if you pull
Yeah,
that
no, we're
off.
friendly. You can come
And
on
I
out.
kind of was like, you know, I did have an agent.
Thank you for the
at time.
BPs, brother.
Really old school, really.
Yes, sir.
Kind of like, he didn't understand that. But he was like,
You want me
like,
to?
let's
I
find
might get
something
started on the
big, let's
battery
find
room
something
if
big
you want
director,
to.
big film, big franchise,
Yeah,
whatever.
let's do it.
And I remember thinking like, do this, and
How's it going?
that off.
Friendly?
And the funny thing is, you say, well, does that become a trap? That wasn't a trap. That was like a liberation. It's almost like doing that part. It was like a permanent hand grenade on. It was like, well, we never know what to expect now, right? So it becomes like liberation at a certain point. Like I weigh 150, you know, like I'm not. So like once you do something like that, it's like, this guy's this guy's kinky. What the hell are we gonna do with him? You know what I mean?
Just making sure you're all right.
And then it's just sort of like,
Yeah.
you get to decide for yourself.
That's brilliant. Yeah, like Robert Downey Jr. is amazing as he is. It's always going to be Iron Man. Like that. Sometimes you get one of those roles. You know, like Thor, Chris Hemsworth. He's fucking Thor, dude. You're Thor forever. You know, you flirted with him.
And it depends on, and I think it depends on how many of them you do.
But when you did the Hulk, were you worried about that?
A little bit.
Was there any
A little bit.
hesitation? Because I was surprised when you did that. I was like, this is an interesting choice.
As is evident, I got more worried about it. You know, I was very interested because I loved it. I'm not like snobby about it. I loved those like comics, and I
Me too.
subscribed to them. I subscribed to them.
I can't blame. Oh, you guys doing
All the
that?
darker stuff, like Dark Knight. Frank
Yeah.
Miller,
I have a.
the whole-
Hold on. I'll give you something
all of it
after
was
we
really,
loot this
you know,
room if you want to come loot it.
It was.
Is that the
it was
last
something
battery?
really
That is the last
much
battery,
fun.
sir.
And I love the Bill
Can I loot it with you or not?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, like he's it for me. He's always
Another
it.
guy,
For
another
anyone
guy.
our age, like he's
Yeah.
you know him walking away.
Yeah.
That's it. And I so yeah, no, I thought I just the way I felt about American History X, I actually thought American History X was sort of like a fellow that I thought it was. That's what I said to David. He's written something that everything
Yeah, somebody
is
like
junk
him.
body. I think you strip all that away. And you literally just make this about rage destroying a person who's got a lot in him. It's like
There's some out,
Shakespearean
there's some
tragedy,
out
but
in
it's
blue,
just you know, and that really lit David up, and
Where you-
that's where we went.
where'd he go?
Right?
somewhere here too.
But
All
Hulk,
this,
Hulk is
Oh shit, thanks.
Here you go, brother. Do you have this?
he steals fire from the gods for people, but he gets
Oh
burned
shoot.
doing it,
Yo, bro.
and is cursed.
Do you have it?
Oh, hold on, wait.
Trying to take like the
Yeah,
power
blueprint
of
for
nature
blueprint,
back
bro.
out
Look
to
at that.
people from the gods, and he gets burned. And that's
I
how
mean, it's
that's
not
how I
much,
thought
but
about
I don't
it.
even know
Do
either.
something like that that
Oh,
leads
cool.
into
Thank you, bro.
this guy who thinks he's going for something
So thanks you,
good
bro. Thank you,
that's
bro.
going to
That's
help
really good.
humanity,
Thanks.
and he cracks open
course, bro.
like, the backside of God and
You're
takes
a nice
something out
man.
that is not meant to be taken out, and now he's cursed, like cursed. You know that's what.
I mean, I actually I didn't find it
It's
actually.
like,
With the other guy in here found it.
Like that's what, and the end of every show you're like, cursed, like, alone in the world and cursed, right? something pretty heavy and like pretty cool in it. And so it wasn't. I thought it was.
I fucking loved it. How did that scene come to play with you, with Fix and Let's go to the village.
Oh, because I studied Aikido when I was in college. I was studying Aikido, and then when I was studying Aikido, Hoist Gracie won the. That was when that was like the late 80s, right?
1993.
93. Okay.
Yeah.
So I became aware. Oh no, that's it. You're right. Because I was in New York. I was studying Aikido in New York, and Hoist Gracie won that first UFC. And like
What's
I
up,
said,
brother?
I'm 6 feet tall, but I literally, if I'm in shape, I will.
Yo, I actually didn't find that.
And Hoist.
I actually didn't find that. That was the other guy in there found that actually.
Right?
Yep.
And I remember it melted
Where
everybody's
did I find
mind.
that?
Yeah.
Was it in a
melted
drawer?
everybody's mind, and I.
It was in the breachable
So I
room
became
that was already
interested
hit.
in them, and what they were doing,
Do
honestly.
you like the Renegade?
Do you know that
Yeah,
you know
it's
in the
pretty
story
good.
in that family's whole crazy story about being
Nice.
they were Scottish. The
thank you,
grandfather
bro.
was Scottish, right?
Yeah.
And he was like a consular. He was a customs
Take it easy, brother.
customs official in Brazil. And because he had a good relationship with the Japanese consul and helped.
We're gonna go to
very
the
generous
village
in helping Japanese
and hopefully open up this
people to come through and
village
in.
key door.
The Japanese consul, I think the story is, who knew Aikido and Jiu-Jitsu, offered to teach his sons.
Yeah, it was Count Maeda.
Right.
Yeah, who
right.
came to Brazil and taught Carlos and Orion and Ilio. Well,
Who
mostly
are the,
Ilio.
who are the
Ilio,
fathers
yes.
of the Hoist 6 generation,
and
right?
then Ilio's oldest son. I think Horian was the oldest son. He's the one who created the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Hickson, the reason why it was so significant you had him, is that was the champion of the family.
Right.
Undeniably, undisputed, everyone throughout jiu-jitsu. It's very, very rare that one figure is universally recognized as being the superior product of jiu-jitsu, and that was Hickson.
Yeah, you always.
Yeah.
If you followed that stuff at all, you kind of
Yes.
heard that breakdown of it, and
Yeah.
I thought part of the story. I think Hickson told me when we were in Rio. I think what he said to me was that the reason Gracie Jiu-Jitsu became its particular derivation and particular kind of thing that allowed Hoist to do so well was because their father was smaller than his brother.
That's it.
Right, and they were all bigger, and because he was smaller, he adapted. He adapted his style to work for a smaller person against a bigger person.
Yeah.
Obviously, and then that kind of Hoist winning
Yes.
that tournament, which but it was. I mean, that wasn't that. You talk about these things, the cracking through moment, right?
Yes.
That was a cracking through moment. It was like, wait a minute, a guy his size just literally won in all form, all size tournaments. Like, how is that possible? You know what I mean? And it was like jaw hits floor. And to me, what was really interesting was I was really little all the way until literally the end of high school. I was very small. I grew a lot in my when I was 17. But I was really interested in Japan, and I was interested in martial arts, and James Clavell's Shogun, and I would take I took karate class, and it scared me. It was people, if they were bigger and faster, it was just scary. If you were little, it was like, I can't. It doesn't matter if I can do these combos or whatever. In truth, I'm terrified of anybody bigger than me, and I don't feel that this is teaching me anything that I would have the confidence to use to defend myself, right? That's how I felt as a kid. And when I bumped into Aikido, it completely changed my mind. There was an incredible teacher in New Haven when I was in college, and he was small. He was maybe smaller than
Are you
Bruce
friendly,
Gracie or
brother?
whatever. and the guy was unbelievably
Here,
potent.
since
Like,
I took
just
it from you,
one
I
of
took the
most
room from you. Here,
potent teachers.
you can
in
have
anything
this.
I ever had. I was riveted by this guy, and
Yeah.
and it kind of
I didn't finish
started
looting
to
if you want to
make me
finish the
believe
back room.
that with grappling and locking, which there's a lot of jujitsu and
Okay.
aikido.
So I really.
And I was sort of like, I was fascinated. I started feeling like this makes me feel like it's not like kicking someone's ass at all. It's just more like I feel more empowered. I feel
You're not helpless.
able to handle an authentic situation, which is mentally empowering more than like I want to get into scraps.
Right.
And it was just kind of amazing. It's like having a secret in a way. Like, whoa, there's a secret to a much smaller person being able to lever a much bigger person. And then that thing happened with Gracie's, and it was sort of like the whole thing cracked open. It was like this. It was like proof.
Yes.
In a way, you know. And if you were interested in that stuff, it was a moment. But because of my interest in that for years, we went to Rio, and I had been working on the script with that movie and stuff, and I was really interested in this idea that Banner is desperate for control, right? That he desperately needs to control his heart rate, his breathing, that it's a massive liability in his mind if he can't control his emotions and his adrenaline. And I was like, well, who in the world? And I've seen the videos of Hicks. I'd never met him or any of them, but I'd seen the videos of him doing the amazing stuff on his stomach. Yeah, and the breathing. And I was like, I just was like, yeah. And everyone was like, who's that? I was like, Philistines. You're all Philistines. I was like, find me Hicks and Gracie and ask him if he'll do a scene with me in the movie, being the guy who's training Banner to like calm himself, and he was there, and he did it with us, and it was like, I was like,
Yeah, there it is right here.
yeah.
Yeah. When I saw this in the movie, I was like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, what a smart move.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, see, I forgot this. Look how charismatic he is, too. I mean, this guy,
100%. Did you ever see Choke? Documentary?
yeah,
One of the greatest documentaries in history.
Like Pumping Iron.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely for martial arts. And it details its journeys to Japan, like Japan Rally Judo, which was around '94. It was right after his brother had won the Ultimate Fighting Championship. And the story was that if his brother lost, Hickson was going to like the idea was to bring poise because it's more impressive. He's a smaller man, he's not physically imposing. Whereas Hickson in that video there, he was older. When he was young, he was very fit. He was big into yoga and physical fitness. And he had the strongest body of all the races. He looked very pointy.
Right.
Whereas Hoist looked unassuming. And it was more of an advertisement of jiu-jitsu. Hoist could beat everybody. Hoist wanted to do it. But if at any reason
Right.
they needed to bring the big guy, it was going to be Hickson. And Hoist always talked about it, like Hickson could tap him left and right. And
Right.
everybody was like, that doesn't make sense. Hoist is the ultimate fighting champion.
Yeah.
He's the guy. But his brother would just run right through him. He would run right through everybody. He would have a line of black belts that would all do for their turn to attack. He would roll with Hickson. He would just dismantle them. People that thought they understood jiu-jitsu. It's so... There's so many levels and layers to jiu-jitsu that even though it looks like, what is the difference? This guy's doing an armbar, you're doing an armbar. There's specifics and the intricate aspects of the positions that Hickson understood that they just didn't understand. And then on top of that, he had much greater control of his body from his yoga background. He became obsessed with yoga.
Breathing.
Yeah, so breathing and something called gymnastic, natural balance, which was like a style of movement that was like sort of like vinyasa yoga with all these like flowing postures, but also with a bunch of like almost like animal movements to it. And it was a very physically demanding thing. Outstanding at that as well. But it's people don't from the outside. You start talking about things like jiu-jitsu and ultimate fighting. You think of like this brutal, violent, but it's an intellectual pursuit.
I'm friendly.
It's a spiritual pursuit. It's to be the person that can overcome all the obstacles. You have incredible control of your emotions and your thought processes and your understanding of who you are.
I think people don't realize
coming, I'm coming, I'm coming.
It's like aggression actually is like paired with stress usually. You know what I mean? It's hard to be aggressive, super.
Oh, there's 2 dead guys, yeah. 3 XP.
The truth is like there's so much of the training. If you're actually training stuff, what you're training yourself to do is be calm, and that's like totally counterintuitive because people think no, you got to go in there like Rocky and want to win, and it's like, well, in a fighting in a competition, sure, on some level, but really, really, really great people, kind of in any sport, but it's even more counterintuitive in fighting is you need to cultivate calm and the ability to be clinical and think calmly, control your breathing, because like you get exhausted if you can't control your breathing, and the truth is that those are life skills that are actually very they cultivate a very upbeat calm. It helps you cultivate calm in life. And the thing I always really liked about Aikido is that there aren't attacks in it. It was developed by a guy, Morihei Yoshiba, who was an all-round bujutsu master. He was like in jujitsu, kendo, karate, all these things, and he developed Aikido because he had joined the global pacifist movement. He was like one of the most respected like cross-form Japanese martial artists, and he joined the same movement for pacifism that Gandhi was a part of in like the 20s, and he believed that martial arts could contribute to pacifism if they refined, and Aikido was a refinement of kendo, jujitsu, judo, and he basically said, I'm going to develop a non-aggressive martial art that has no attacks, and there's an uke in it, like for the thing, but it's only a defensive, and it's like that phrase we all hear, redirection of energy, the conversion of negative energy into neutral. That's like that is really his contribution. He was like, you can take the most aggressive energy and you can neutralize it. And you can neutralize it very peacefully, or you can neutralize it with a little more teeth in it, depending on how aggressive the person's being. But I loved that. I thought that was amazing because it was like, I wasn't like looking to be in a fight, but I loved the idea that you could have control and you could like neutralize, and I think there's something kind of amazing in that. I think it's like actually aligns with like yoga, with meditation, with all things, surfing. I mean, that's what surfing is. It's like there's all this energy coming at you, like, and it's gonna like put you into the rocks or rock you or flip you over or hurt you, but you don't let that happen. You look at it, you look at a million waves, you figure out how to move yourself, you get in there, and you get the exact opposite of getting torched. You get like the best thing ever, right? And I think things like that are where you have to, those are like Zen, you know what I mean? And I think like jujitsu, what you're saying is really ultimately like why he was great is he had like the deepest Zen of anybody in the whole thing, because he was the calmest. And he had like the micro understanding of forms, but really like it's something deeper. It's like it's like Neo in the Matrix. He's like seeing it with more granularity.
Yeah, the full package. Did you ever see any of Steven Seagal when he was very young?
Mm-hmm.
When he was teaching in Japan?
I was totally fast. I mean, it's like, and it's really...
It's weird,
like,
right?
Like me, right? Like like serious actor, thoughtful actor. I'm like, what did you, but I, like Above the Law.
Yeah.
Because I was into all that stuff when Above the Law came out. And there was the scene in Above the Law, and he's in an Aikido, gi with the black thing, and he's doing this thing, and I was ripped. I was like, oh my god, like this is so cool. Like, when have you ever seen this in a movie?
Yeah.
And he was a big guy,
and he made it violent.
Yeah,
it's
big.
Very unusual sort of contribution to martial arts, because in martial arts movies, he made it realistic. Like, it was one of the most realistic martial arts movies ever.
Yeah, it was. And when you look back on it, there's things about it that don't date super well.
Of course, but he was undeniably
literally what you just
skillful.
showed, the thing of the guy coming, it's that simple thing, that thrust and the break and the thing. It's like, he also, in the film, when the guys come at him, shows you how it burns your brain. There's a scene where there's in a bodega, and the guy, I think he smashes a bottle, and he comes at him, and he does like a move. In Aikido, it's called like kotegaishi. It's like it's like the wrist, it's like the wrist break, flip over. And it was just like, oh my God, like he's doing like, nuanced Aikido moves in a big action movie. It was kind of cool.
Well, he was one of the first, I think the first Westerner to run a dojo in Japan. I mean, he was a legitimate Aikido master.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is when I studied over there, it was slightly controversial because I don't think he'd broken away from like Yushiba Aikido. He was doing like the way that Gracie Jiu-Jitsu is not pure Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. He was doing something with this. It was associated more with Osaka than Tokyo, where the Hombu Dojo and Aikido is. And there was
some controversy.
Yeah, there was just like the way things are with schools and thought. But yeah, he had a certain legit kind of thing, and it's really wild because people like Mike Ovitz, who was like the power agent of all of Hollywood in the '80s. Mike got a black belt training with Seagal. Like he was a really serious Aikidoist.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
But he's a cautionary tale too. I mean, not even Ovis. I mean, Seagal.
Yeah.
What he become.
I guess. Honestly, I don't know anything about him past a certain point. Like I don't know what went on there.
Yeah.
But
you can leave it at that.
Yeah, I don't.
Tell me about your new movie. Let's leave it at that.
It's called Motherless Brooklyn. It was kind of a big swing because I wrote it and I produced it.
Is this the first time you've done that?
Directed it. I produced and directed the first movie I directed is Keeping the Faith. It's me and Ben Stiller play a rabbi and a priest who are best friends, and they both fall for the same girl. Did you ever see that one?
No, I didn't.
It's funny. Yeah, you'd like it. Ben is hilarious in it. That was obviously lighter. That was a lighter kind of movie, but it was I've lived in New York almost 30 years, and I like making movies in New York a lot. That was a pretty light one. This one is more. This takes place in the 50s in New York, and it's kind of. It's got a Chinatown, LA Confidential kind of a noir bent to it. It's a mystery, a murder mystery of kind of that leads into some of the stuff that happened in New York in the 50s that is hard to believe, because New York was run by it was run by basically a Darth Vader-like figure who was never elected to public office, and people thought he was the Parks Commissioner of New York, but he was from 1930 to 1968 he had uncontested authoritarian power over New York City and New York State, and he made every significant decision about the way that the modern infrastructure of New York was built, where the roads went, where the bridges were built, what was torn down, where the projects were built. And he was very racist, and he baked like really discriminatory things that almost sound like conspiracy theory. They're so wild and intense into the decisions he made. He was responsible for the Dodgers leaving Brooklyn and going to LA, and nobody knows this. Like you think of New York as that's like the great egalitarian melting pot city where democracy works, except that it was run by a total autocrat.
For 38 years?
Yeah, he's largely, it's broadly accepted that no mayor or governor of New York could do a single thing without his say-so from basically about 1930 to about 1968.
How is that even possible?
Yeah.
And how come no one knows about this? How did you find out?
People do. There's huge, like in one of the big Burns Brothers documentaries about New York, there's literally almost a whole episode on him. There's a great book about him that won the Pulitzer Prize, and there's his name was Robert Moses, and there's Robert Moses State Beach in New York, but literally people think he was the Parks Commissioner, but he was like Anakin Skywalker. He was like a Jedi Knight. He was a big liberal progressive believer in progressive change and government reform. And in his early years, he got crushed by Tammany Hall and the power brokers, and he went dark, went completely. Yeah. That's not the most imposing picture of him that you've got up. There's other ones.
That's an imposing
Find one of the
picture.
ones of him. Find one of the ones of him standing in front of his models. There's famous ones of him.
That looks like a man of will.
Actually, to the left of that, and keep going to the left of that. Because there's a scene in our movie where Alec Baldwin is literally like that. Yeah, Alec Baldwin essentially plays a character who's based on him, inspired by him, I should say. It's not at all in my film. It's not the true story. But yeah, there you go. But I think this idea, I was really interested in this idea. You know, what's great about Chinatown as a film is it's mostly sexy. You don't know what the hell is going on in that movie. Like, until 20 minutes before the end, you have absolutely no idea really what's going on in that movie. But it's just sexy. It's like, the music is amazing, the photography's incredible, the actors are like adult and real, and he's Nicholson, right? The hook is like, Nicholson is so cool, you really will kind of follow him. You'll watch the way he deals with anything, and you're just laughing and enjoying it, right? But underneath it all, when you're done, you go, is that true? Is LA basically built on stolen water? Is that like LA's original sin, is that people made fortunes, the valley was just farms, and they stole the water from up north and, you know, rigged the game and made these gigantic fortunes by irrigating San Fernando Valley. And you come away with an awareness that, like, the California story is not exactly what it's cracked up to be, right? There's some big crimes underneath it, and the people who and that in that movie, it's like, yeah, the people ripped everybody off, they faked droughts, they created fortunes themselves, and the type of people who did that also raped their daughters. Literally, that's like what that movie is about. It's and it's pretty bleak. It's like, you can't make a difference. You cannot change anything. Like, and if you try, the person you're trying to help is going to end up with a bullet through her eye, dead on the steering wheel. Like, it's a really dark movie, and people forget that because you just, oh, Nicholson, Faye Dunaway. It's like, nah, that's a really, really bleak movie. But I love the idea that you can do things where, like, the pleasure of it is like the pleasure of movies. It's grown up. It's kind of what we've been talking about. It's like if you said to most people, if you showed Chinatown to most critics today, they'd go, long, boring, whatever. It's like, you want to say, fuck off. Like, fuck off. Like, what is it that you, why are you assuming people can't handle grown up? You know what I mean? And I think that I really dig those things where you go through, the movie starts, you look at it and you go, this looks really good. This looks really grown up. This is big. The actors are like adult and authoritative. The dialogue's great. The music is great. It's hypnotic. And your brain just goes, I don't know what's going on. I don't care. I'm bought in. And if there's a character in it that you can hook into, you float through those movies. You just kind of go, where's this going? What's going on? Oh man, that guy, she's great. He's great. Wow. Like, this is just all juicy and great. And by the end, you get somewhere and you kind of go, I'll be damned, that actually was about big things. Did those things really happen? You know, I really dig those movies. I dig Chinatown, LA Confidential. I think The Godfather works that way. The Godfather's about immigrants, you know, it's about immigrants normalizing in America. You don't, it's like, that's a long movie.
Yeah.
You just settle in for that movie.
Right.
Your brain settles in and just goes, this just couldn't be better. I couldn't be happier to be watching this scene after scene after scene. And I wanted to try to make one of those, you know, myself. Like, I wanted to try to make one of those, because it's cliche to say, like, they don't make those anymore, but
right.
But I think, you know, they were always hard. It's not like they were easy once and now they're hard. They were always hard. But I would look at people like Warren Beatty. He made Reds, you know, which is one of the great movies from that era. even like Spike Lee doing Do the Right Thing. I don't know if you remember when that movie hit.
Sure.
It was massive. It was a huge deal to me. I was like 18 or 19.
Yeah.
I saw that movie and I was like, he just rewrote the game. Like, this kid, who the hell is this? He wrote it, he directed it, he acted in it, he got Public Enemy to do the music.
Yeah.
It's about his neighborhood in New York, but it's about like race in America. It's like, oh my God, that guy just took like a huge swing and connected on like every level. And it didn't even give you some BS kind of like, don't worry, it's gonna be okay in the end.
Right.
It was like, Martin Luther King says violence is not the way. Malcolm X says sometimes it's the only rational response. What do you think? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so ballsy. It was so ballsy, that movie. And I think like, after a while, it's sort of like, I just started feeling like, well, you know, I don't really need to gig. I might as well. I've worked with a lot of great people. I've worked with some pretty great directors, including Spike. And I was kind of like, been in New York a long time, and I just thought it was really weird no one knew that story. And I was like, I'm going to try to make one about this.
As someone who doesn't make movies, I always wonder, like, what happened between, like, say, Steve McQueen's Le Mans.
Okay,
Did you ever
guys,
see that?
so
Of course, yeah.
You remember how there's no dialogue
since
at all
the
for like
trials
the longest
are
time? And I remember I watched it recently within the last couple of years, and
really
one of the thoughts
not.
was, I don't even know if they could
we
do
have 4
this
minutes
today.
left.
If anybody would allow them to make a movie where no one talks for
Okay,
a
we'll
long
just wait for
time.
4
They're just sort of
minutes.
setting the stage of what it means to be a race car driver and what's the atmosphere of the races. It's just the idea that you were saying earlier about having this short attention span theater, these movies that are designed for what they believe is a populace of people that don't have the interest in something that's more unique or something that requires thought, something that drags you in. And that was much more common in the past. Like, why was it more common in that era of McQueen and all those other movies that they did like that? And what has happened? And like these rare examples, like when a guy does break through with something like Do the Right Thing, or a few other examples, why doesn't that stimulate the appetite for more?
Well,
Is it that hard to do?
on one level, yeah, it's easy to recognize when they're great, but it's still not easy to make them great. We're talking about people who are some of our greatest artists or directors. You know what I mean? And lots of people, they try on some level. But they just, not everybody is Spike Lee.
Right.
You know what I mean? Not everybody is Francis Coppola, or it's sometimes people make things and they actually are slow. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You're like,
it misses. Yeah.
It's like in Spinal Tap when they're like, it's a fine line between stupid and clever. No, it's a fine line between clever and stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's. I think people try, but I think that there are some people who really do think Jaws had a big effect on movies because it was like the first true blockbuster, right? And I don't know. You know what? I actually don't. I'm wrong. I think that what happens
I guess
more
I'll
often
be
than
right
not
back.
is
I'm gonna go get something to eat, and then we'll hop
adult
into a
people
match
get the
on
jobs
Night Raid
at the big
Stellamontis.
companies that make the decisions about what to make, right? And at a certain point, they sort of age out. They start to age out, and they don't actually have any idea what the vibe is. They don't know what to make for the coming wave of younger people. And so these little windows open up now and then where in that era they needed new people. They needed, like, George Lucas making American Graffiti. Nobody thought that movie was gonna be a hit. Nobody. They open up, they say, we don't know what to do something different. And a couple of new voices like come in and they make things that are really different, But the idea that was only then, like, there's a whole book right now about 1999 there's this book that came out about how 1999 was one of those years where, because the studios had kind of lost their sense of exactly what to do, and Miramax was making a shit ton of money on auteur-driven movies made for low cost, and the studios all went and set up little mini Miramaxes, right? And the result was that, like, in that year, you had like Paul Thomas Anderson, Wes Anderson, Alexander Payne, Spike Jonze, David O. Russell, Fincher, the Wachowskis, like an unbelievable array of directors made really, really memorable films in that year. And I think it was because it was like another one of those moments, like we don't know what to do. We're just gonna have to like close our eyes and go, you kids figure it out. You know what I mean?
That's the thing about films, it seems to me, it's such a collaborative effort. And when you have so many moving pieces and so many people involved that have a say in the decision-making process, it's got to be insanely difficult to get something out that's pure.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Francis Coppola said that the best thing about making films is that they're collaborative, and the worst thing about making films is that they're collaborative. He also said it's the last moral totalitarian job in the world, like being a director or something. I can't remember, but it's true. It's a very because like I made this movie, I had a fraction of like the budget of The Irishman, right? Which I'm naming only because it was a period piece, mine's in the 50s, that one's in the 60s, and I had like less days to do it than I had on my first movie that I directed.
How many days did you have to do it?
Like 46, which for perspective, Fight Club was a 130-day shoot, and 46 days is less than most movies I've made, and this was a big 1950s like period film with a huge like French Connection style car chase in the opening, running through Harlem, across the bridge, down into Queens. We weren't like making a little kitchen sink drama, and to figure that out, that is like, you can be like, I got the vision, we're gonna do this. But there's a kind of madness in saying, this is what I want to do. I want to recreate the old Penn Station that doesn't exist anymore, right? Which we have in the film. Like, my character goes into the old Penn Station that was torn down in 1963 or whatever. And you only pull that off with the most kick-ass Justice League of collaborators imaginable. Like, they make you look like you're a visionary or know what you're doing, because you get these people with crazy talents of their own. And I don't mean just cast, although I had that too in this. I mean, like, some of the very, very, very best people bring their talent to like making that work. And so that's like when you say like your job is more to say, I have really talented people, I've got to get their frequency wave in line with mine. If I can get their frequency wave in line with mine, then it can be my idea, my vision, my weird ideas can be in there, but it's executed with the help of people who believe in it and buy into it. That's the key. It's like you're marshaling people to get to it in sync with you. And I have a sick cat. It's like Bruce Willis, Alec Baldwin, Willem Dafoe, Bobby Cannavale, Michael K. Williams, who's like Omar on The Wire.
Wow.
This great actress Gugu Mbatha-Raw, and Leslie Mann, and on and on and on. And all these people did this as a favor to me because I didn't have any money to do it.
Wow.
So from starting with Bruce was like, he said to me a long time ago, if you have something good, I want to be in it. I really want to do the kind of stuff you're doing, and I really mean it. I'll do anything you want to do and help you get it done. I was like, he's not going to remember that, He's going to be like, sure, but I'm doing Die Hard like for the rest of the year. And he didn't. He was like, where do you need me? I told you I'm in.
Wow.
Let's get it done. And basically Bruce, Alec, Willem, people like that, I practically call them co-financiers on my film because I only got it done because they deferred everything, And I think that's really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
When you write something like this car chase scene through Harlem, I mean, I would imagine the logistics of pulling something like that off, it's got to be insane.
Yeah, it's nuts.
How does, when you wrote it and you brought it to the people that are the stunt people, the people that coordinate these chase scenes, were they like, oh, fuck?
Yes, you know, doing the things is not hard. Getting permission to do them in Manhattan is tricky, and there are people who look at you like you're dreaming, man. Like
Right.
you're not, and you, what you do is you go out and scout, and you say, look, we can do this here and this here, and this is hard, this is hard, we don't need this block here. Then you
I have returned.
I wanted to do a huge screeching turn on Frederick Douglass Boulevard because it has a 9-block stretch where there's very few buildings that don't look like they're in the 50s, right? Leading up to a bridge that you want to go over the bridge, and then you get with like the guys at the NYPD and you beg, like you just beg. You go, look, we're gonna be like the 30,000. We're gonna have everything's gonna be so well planned and ready to go. We'll be able to just shut it down, and in 20 minutes we'll be done. You know what I mean? Like you start.
What's up, brother?
Well, no, just for a shot. You know, it's like we
What's
just
up,
need to do this
brothers?
once or twice.
I'm friendly.
To get this.
I'm here to kill shredders. I'm here to kill the shredders. Don't worry, brother. I will not attack you.
1950s cars as well.
Like going fast or making big turns. You have to have 4 of the same model. Like they will break. You'll push one hard, it will break. And then you have to like bring the other one in. You know what I mean? Make them go fast.
Nice
So
shot.
you're figuring out like what are the moves we can make that make it feel like this thing is really bombing, and how do we cross cut around the fact that it takes 3 blocks for it to accelerate. I mean, like literally to go from 10 miles an hour to 40, you need like literally like 3 or 4 blocks. So you have to like get it up to speed for the section that you want.
There's only 2 this time, which is weird. Oh no, I hear that.
I'm not doing another period. The next movie I'm doing is gonna have Tesla P100Ds that go like 0 to 60 in 2.4.
Now, when you
trying to do the Charles as well?
when you write this out, like how much
Oh,
time
yeah,
is
you are
involved
too?
in preparation of writing this and then doing all the scouting?
No,
and
it's
trying
good.
to
I
implement
probably
this
evac
whole-
then.
It took me
I'll
a
let
couple
you
years to
chill.
write it because I haven't even said in.
Alright.
I think you have to know yourself. I'm not Bogart. I'm not like Jack
I
Nicholson.
don't really know where any more
The
shredders
magic
are.
they bring is the magic they bring. The character I put in the middle.
I know there's usually a lot in cultural archives.
And
If you make your way down there.
So he can't.
Yeah.
Like when he hit, when he meets a blonde at the bar, he's like the opposite of Bogart. He tries to light her match and can't stop blowing it out because it doesn't sound right to him. So he's kind of a train wreck.
There are some more
He's the
shredders. I
opposite
think
of-
there's usually some in
of a
lobby.
Cool detective.
So
and in
maybe
fact,
if you
Bruce
hit-
Willis plays the cool detective who he
Yeah.
works for. So like Bruce Willis is.
But
Nicholson.
those are the main locations I know of.
But when something bad happens to him and my guy has to like step out of the assistant role,
Of course.
Safe out here.
he's just like his operative because he has a great memory. He has like a photographic memory and some really weird.
What's up, brother?
Because his brain is chaotic and crazy. He has certain little gifts that Bruce Willis like relies on him for and believes in him.
Want to find more shredders?
But when he has to sort of figure
Godspeed.
out what happened to his boss,
Thanks,
solve this mystery, like he kind of has to
Peace.
go out on his own, out of his comfort zone, and kind of become a detective. And
What's up, brother?
Don't
shoot!
Howdy!
He's ticking and twitching and shouting and doing things that make it very difficult for him to move. So that's kind of like I had.
Yo, I'm eating some pigs in a blanket, bro. On a Saturday, bro? Hell yeah.
What happened?
My mom cooked these in the oven. Only took but like 10 minutes, not even. Hell yeah.
We were actively like scouting New York love
Did you
that.
kill this man, good sir? Did you kill this man?
Go up to Harlem and Washington Heights and really like cruise around. I know they're anyway.
Whoa! Stop! I didn't attack! Like, and they can
just sort of float around mentally.
I'm chill.
And it was fun.
It's such a horror.
No, it's not. It's not. LA is way
How so?
because New York, no one's going that fast, right? You can be.
chill.
Can't explain it. In New York, there's a.
This guy killed me. This guy attacked me. This guy.
I'll tell you the number one New York.
The other guy tried to attack me after I killed him.
Nobody has time to be on their phone. And in LA, if I'm on a bike, I would say I regularly
Watch out.
look to my right, I look to my left, and both people on either side of me are texting. Do you ever see? I mean,
Yes,
all the time.
when I'm in my truck, especially because I can.
Yeah, you realize that in this town, 60% of people at any given moment are texting, and it's just, and it's so dangerous. And if I'm on a motorcycle in LA, I'll look at people, they're texting for so long, and finally I'll have to like corner something and look at them. I've gotten past like, anger and literally just looked at people, flipped my thing up and gone like, please get off your phone. Like you're going to kill somebody and kill yourself. But we can't break the addiction. People cannot break the addiction. And it's not a more. You realize it isn't a character flaw. It's not like what an asshole. It's everybody. It's your mom. It's your sister. It's your friend. Everybody is doing it because they're addicted. Like a device addicted. But when you're on a bike and you realize like I'm floating in a sea of people who are going to mess up. Someone is going to mess up, and they've got airbags and new modern stuff, and you're on the like yeah. I think this is way more dangerous riding than.
That makes sense when you talk about things like the 405, the 101, people are flying by and passing and changing lanes, and the texting too.
Yeah, and also the big avenues. People get up, Wilshire Boulevard, whatever. They're looking at a thing and they blow that red light, right?
All the time.
And half the times you hear about or see bad accidents here, especially if it's on motorcycles. It's like it's not like the person screwed. The person on the bike didn't screw up. Someone went through a red light and just broadsided them, or they T-boned them. And, it's like, do you really want to make the bet, the huge bet on yourself, where what you're riding on is other people's concentration.
Were you riding when you were living down here?
I've never. Yeah, no, I've spent winters out here. I'm like.
Yo, what's up, guys?
I'm not like a pro experienced like motorcycle rider at all. I just enjoy it. Like out here, it's fun. Like go up to the express cars, like that. Yeah, it's cool. There's California, LA are sucks. Just hot. But there's so many amazing places to go in California, and I kind of got hooked on it out here.
And so then when you were in New York, you said, fuck it, this is actually a good place to be riding.
No, it's not even that. I ride bicycles too in New York. I liked it, but it's more just that the thing that pulls you in. I mean, I have lots of, I like to surf, I fly planes, there's a lot of stuff that I think is much, that's thrilling, that's much safer than riding motorcycles. It's not like my jam. But once you have that skill set, once you can do it, if you have a bike, there are those times in LA and in New York too, where you take a look at like the gridlock and you're just like, I I'm going to be in this forever. And on a bike, you can lane split and just get, you get where you need to go. And in New York, too, you can zip around in ways that is efficient.
So how long how long did you sit on this story? How long did you know about this, and what was the process of having this sort of built in your mind to the point where you wanted to write it, direct it, produce it, cast it?
Honestly, I read the book exactly 20 years ago. I read it in the fall when I was when Fight Club came out. I was right around the time.
What's up, brother?
I read this novel. Well, it was Brooklyn.
Looks like you're kind of hurt
Novel
there.
about the theoretic detective who's trying to solve the murder of his only friend, basically. But it takes place in the 90s. It's not about any of that stuff about New York in the 50s or anything. It's just the character is just amazing, like amazing. So when I read it, the hook was the character. I was like, what a great character. It's such a wild. He's like just this hot mess of he's smart, but he's totally messed up. He's funny, but also really pretty painful and lonely. And it was just everything. And I was like, I could get so into trying to figure that out. For reasons that are a little hard to explain, the tone of the book feels like a 50s detective novel, but it's set in the modern world, and I was afraid in a movie that would feel a little bit like the Blues Brothers, like guys in fedoras, but Prius is floating by, and so you're sort of like, maybe this would just be cooler if we set it in the 50s, and I talked to the author about that, and he was super into those movies, and so he said, okay.
Wow.
So then the middle period was the period of mashing that up with these sort of stories, the New York Chinatown kind of it, the deep, dark history of what really went on in New York, and that took a long time. And then I had it ready in 2012. I was really ready to go, and I just couldn't get it to. I couldn't get. Bruce said he was in, and that was kind of angry, but I couldn't get everyone I wanted together at the same time, and I couldn't get the amount of money I needed or that I thought I wanted, and I couldn't get a studio to back it. Because honestly, number one, like, I'm not like a green light anything he does. I think that's a different sort of thing. But also, I was out there saying it's sort of like Rain Man meets LA Confidential, and people's eyes just kind of cross. They're like, bring us the next one. Like, they're like, we don't get it. We don't get it. We don't get, yeah, it's like, and also I had this idea of I love Radiohead and I like jazz, and I wanted to I got Tom York to write a song for the film, but I got Wynton Marsalis to do all the jazz and stuff. And people were also, they were like, these things are not going to go well together, and then they went to get, a lot of people have said to me, which is not, it's not me taking, a lot of people have said to me it's the best music in a film that they've heard in many, many years. Flea played trumpet and bass on Tom York's track in the film. And Flea's like a really good trumpet player, and his dad was a jazz musician, and
I didn't know that.
Flea came out of the movie crying. He was like, "That's honestly my favorite music that I've ever heard in a film." And I think, but you can't tell people that I thought that would work. I thought this mashup would work because I knew Tom, and I knew he loves Charles Mingus, and I knew Wynton was capable of doing. He's really interested in dissonant, weird, edgier kind of modernist music as well, and I was like, this is gonna work, and it did. It's really, the music's amazing in the film. It's like its own, the record's out now, and people are flipping out about just the music, and the movie hasn't even come out yet.
With such a crazy combination of factors and details that you smashed all together.
Yeah.
And it's got to feel, first of all, it's got to be a tremendous relief, and also feel amazing that you did it.
I do feel that. I feel like it would have haunted me. and it was rattling around in my head such a long time. I felt very discouraged about it at times, because I was kind of like, I've done a few okay things. Like, I've done some stuff that was weird and that people didn't understand, and it's come together pretty great. You know what I mean? And you sort of go, God, I never expect anybody to give me money to make something. Like, that's just risky. Like, I would never put money into making movies. Never. Like, it's too risky, you know? And I get it. So I'm not like, I deserve this. Like, but it was more like, sometimes I was just like, am I going to be able to figure this out or not? Am I going to get this done? And I think getting it done and having it, not having quit on it, and in some ways feeling, not actually knowing that it's better that I made it now. I know more. I was more. If I'd tried to do it 20 years ago, I didn't have the chops to do some of the things, like working with Spike Lee and Alejandro Inarritu and people like that. Really, like, it upped my sense of how to do. I learned a lot about how to do a big thing without all the money in the world.
Now, this is released nationwide, worldwide. Like, when it's released on this Friday, right?
Yeah, this Friday.
And it's everywhere.
Day after tomorrow.
Broad
all
release.
over America. Yeah, yeah. It's a wide release here. I hope. Yeah, and I think honestly, like, the day it comes out, like, you can either see Terminator like 9.11 or ours. There's like not, and I like certify on the Joe Rogan Experience, like, there's not a grown-up human being who will not be stoked about this film. Like, I can say that people who are seeing it are very, very, very into it and very bought in, because it is one of those, like, it's a big meal, but it's a really rich, good meal, and it has amazing performances. I don't think Alec Baldwin has ever been better in a movie, honestly. And I think Willem Dafoe is amazing. Michael K. Williams is amazing, and the music is great, and it's a cool story. And I think it's kind of one of those things that it's worth going to the theater to see. But I guarantee you, it's more worth your time than another Terminator movie.
Well, it sounds like it to me. I'm really excited about it, and I will see it for sure. Thank you. And it was a pleasure talking to you, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much for coming in here, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Are you still trained? You do? Like, serious?
You don't win an argument with your wife. You never win that. Part of your defensive mechanism and your pride is going to be, well, this time for sure.
Sometimes, though.
Yeah, well, it's convenient when that's the case.
What's some advice that you could give a man my age on how best to integrate, or maybe conquer, the ghosts of past relationships?
The core of the question was, what can I do to ensure that I'm not dragging the past into the future? Understand the past. Understand the past. There will be times when you or your partner were betrayed in the past, by yourself, by someone else, doesn't matter. There's a betrayal. And then when I suggest that it's you, you're going to get defensive. Partly because you don't want it to be you, and partly because there's a part of you that knows that there's something underneath that that's going to be very unpleasant to uncover. You also have to allow your partner to do a good thing badly. When they first start to listen, when they first start to help and untangle, you got to let them flail about a fair bit. People will often do something difficult twice, go on a date, for example, when they haven't been with each other for a long time. It won't go well, and they'll think, well, we're certainly not doing that again. That happens to people. Then they don't have any romance for decades. That is not wise. That's not wise.
In this episode, we're talking about marriage and relationships. So that should be interesting. Fortunately, my husband doesn't watch anything I do. So, first on the line, John in Chicago.
Hi, John.
Hi, Dr. Peterson. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, thanks for offering.
I'm 53 years old. I've been divorced for about 9 years. During those 9 years, I've purposely devoted a very substantial portion of my time, effort, and attention to my son.
Yo,
and his
where does Rogue
disposition
at?
for acting. Recently, at the urging of my highly extroverted 17-year-old son, and after quite a bit of thought and feelings of terror on my part, I took his advice and started dating. Thankfully, after taking that step, I've started dating a rather fantastic woman. During the adventure of our 5-month relationship, I've seriously discovered the importance of having an intimate partner in my life, and we've even discussed the possibility of spending the rest of our lives together. So my question is, based on the abbreviated description of my situation, what's some advice that you could give a man my age on how best to integrate, or maybe conquer, the ghosts of past relationships and life choices to properly set the foundation for a new relationship to last the rest of our lives?
I have a program that you might want to try online called Past Authoring that helps people write an autobiography. I would say that it would be useful for you, since you're concerned with conquering the ghosts of the past, which is a very wise thing to do at your age, with your wisdom, and when you're wanting to embark on a new path forward with clarity and with the demons of the past understood and relatively
Steam comp is like
conquered.
actually insane.
Now, we organize ourselves neurologically at the highest level through language and story. And your life to date, properly understood, would make a coherent narrative. Now that's hard because you have 5 decades to contend with, and there will be elements of your past that aren't well mapped. And those are the pitfalls. Everything you don't understand about your past is a pitfall waiting for you to fall into in the future. Now, one of the ways that you can understand where those pitfalls exist is that you'll have memories of the past that are still hot and active. They still have emotional significance. Now, if a memory that's more than a year and a half old still has emotional significance, that's an indication from the anxiety alarm systems that you did not mine that experience for its full significance. And that means that you still have something to learn to avoid falling into that pitfall again in the future, which is what you indicated that you want to do. So I would say that you could profitably spend some time writing down your life. Now, the way the program works, and you don't have to do the program, you can do this on your own, is that it asks you to break your life down into 7 or 8 epochs. So sometimes people do that by their relationships. Sometimes people do it by their educational progression or their career transformations. Whatever way seems reasonable to you, or different chunks of age, whatever way seems reasonable to you to break down your life is fine. And then to think through what the most significant positive and negative events were, to lay them out in a way that helps you understand why the positive events were positive, what you did right, and what the circumstances were, so that that positive.
Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
I have enjoyed your content online for a few years now, so it's really solid stuff. And I thought, what better day than to bring Chris in right after everybody fucked up their diet?
Yeah, that's right. Well, I just want to tell a public health message that you did not get sleepy because the turkey was high in tryptophan. So
yeah, that's
we'll leave
weird.
it at that.
Isn't that a weird one? That's a weird myth that's persisted for a long time.
I mean, the weirdest thing is the origins of it. Apparently, it came from researchers journalists in the 80s who were trying to come up with a reason to explain why everyone was tired on after Thanksgiving meal, and they just looked as far as, turkey has tryptophan, which is an amino acid that is the precursor to melatonin, which is you could call it a sleeping chemical, so it makes you get tired at night. That must be why. But it turns out that turkey's not that high in tryptophan. Like even whey protein is higher in tryptophan than turkey is. And then B, tryptophan doesn't make you tired. I dare anyone to go out and have just a slice of turkey for breakfast and see if it knocks you out.
It's overeating. It's like so obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, people are eating tons of stuffing, tons of sides. They're eating so much food. You're gorging. It's a gorging day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good.
Yeah. And if you look at like a lion in the wild, one thing that you'll notice is that they are on the prowl when they are hungry. They're alert, their bodies revved up, and then they have a feast and they just fall asleep. And the reason is that you even see this in physiology. They call the parasympathetic nervous system the rest and digest system. And that's because we are biologically wired to be alert when we need to work to get our food. And then we're wired to, eat that food, feel like we've gotten our fill, we've done what we need to do, and we can rest and take a sleep.
Yeah, it's normal. I mean, there's a great video of these lionesses, these female lions, after they've hunted and killed and ate all this food, and they're just lying there like this with these enormous bellies, just like your uncle on the couch watching football.
Yeah, I think one thing that I think we should talk about today is I've been in nutrition research for 21 years, and I think that the crowning thesis of my work so far is that we really want to be thinking about mitochondrial function at the root of all health and disease. And so I think an interesting way to see sleep is it's like, why do we have to sleep 8 hours a night? And I think with dreaming, there's obviously other things going on there, but deep sleep, one of the primary things that's happening is you need to give your mitochondria a rest, because your mitochondria are what produce all the energy that you need for producing everything in your body, for maintaining it, for repairing it, and for distributing it properly, and for keeping it going across the lifespan. And so your mitochondria are going to essentially take a nap, take a rest. They don't go off because you die, but they really turn down the volume of the work they're doing. But then you take your metabolic rate way lower than that. And so you can build up the reserves of energy that you had used up the day before. And so it's, that can explain a lot of recent findings that are coming out as well, because there was that recent study where they looked at sleep deprivation with creatine supplementation. And so they randomized people to either drink a placebo drink or drink 20 grams of creatine through the night. And they kept them awake all night, and they had them do brain puzzle quizzes. And when the subjects were getting the 20 grams of creatine, they did way better on the brain puzzles, but they also complained about being tired a lot less. And so the conclusion is creatine is somehow acutely preventing your brain from suffering during sleep deprivation. And the rationale there is, mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell, or the power plant that's producing the energy. Creatine is like the power grid, and it distributes that energy throughout the cell. And so if the purpose of sleep is to restore the energy that you used up, but then you intervene by putting creatine in there, now you can keep that energy going, and you can go more hours before you need to get rest and restore that energy, because you've increased your capacity to distribute it.
That makes sense. That is an interesting thing, because it's fairly recent that people have talked about this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it used to be people only thought of creatine as being a muscle thing, to help you recover and help you build larger muscles. But then over the last, I would say, year or two, I started hearing talking about cognitive function, and maybe even more than a couple of years, but about how it improves cognitive function. The sleep thing, though, is very recent, right?
Yeah, the sleep thing was in the last year.
Okay.
There is some literature on traumatic brain injury where 20 grams of creatine for 6 months doubles the rate of healing.
Whoa. That's incredible.
But it's, the field is in its infancy, but I think that I actually almost a decade ago did a podcast on just creatine. I called it More Than a Performance Enhancer, because if you just look at where it's distributed in the body, almost every cell and every tissue has the creatine system. And so it really is and if you look at the literature, they'll say, well, it's more important in certain cells. Like it's really important in your muscles because your muscles have this very polarized. Sometimes they're at rest. Sometimes their energy demand is going through the roof, and it's really important in like long cells. So, for example, your retina is part of your central nervous system, and it's a really long cell that's coming from the brain into the eye, and creatine helps move energy back and forth. But if you just look at where, instead of where is it most important, you just like where is it? It's like almost every cell in your body has creatine, and it's helping distribute the energy that the mitochondria make throughout your whole body, and that includes pumping stomach acid. It includes sperm swimming up the vaginal canal. And so if you just look at where it is, you would think that creatine would help a lot more than muscles. And it just turns out that all you need to do is start studying it to start seeing those effects.
Is there any studies on creatine and the improvement of eyesight?
I'm not sure. They're not that I know of.
Because that kind of makes sense, right?
I mean, it makes complete sense. Like you would, when it comes down to it, your ability to produce energy is producing, maintaining, and repairing everything in your body. So you would expect to see anything that does improve your energy metabolism improve literally everything. So it'd be kind of shocking if you had no effect on that. But I'm not sure if there are good trials done on that. I haven't seen them.
Speaking of improving eyesight, I started doing red light about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Got a red light bed and completely stopped whatever macular degeneration I was going through and reversed some of it. So I don't have perfect vision, but my vision's better. Like it's definitely better. And it's not just through the red light. It's also, it's got to be some of the supplements that I'm taking. One of them, I take a supplement from Pure Encapsulations. No affiliations with them. I just buy it. It's called Macular Support. And let's see what's got in there. It's got lutein and a few other supplements that have been known to...
Yeah, that'll do it.
Is that it?
Well, yeah. I mean, so with the red light, it is very interesting. Whenever you think of red light, you want to think of your mitochondria, because the main thing that we know about red, near infrared, and far infrared that they're doing is they're actually going straight into the mitochondrial engines that produce the energy and helping them produce more. And they're also ordering the water structure inside the mitochondria to make those engines produce energy more easily. And there was a study a few months ago that it was just like a one-day study, but it showed that blasting people in the chest with red light improved their eyesight when it was measured the next day. And they covered their eyes to make sure that the red light didn't go into the eye. And so the conclusion is, it's not a clinical study, right? And it's not like a 1 year, how does it, does it really improve your eyesight over 1 year? We don't know. But it shows proof of principle that red light is doing something systemically that does not have to go to your eye that does improve your vision. And to me, that makes sense because your vision is going to be improved by anything that acts directly in your eye to improve energy production. But you've got coordinated energy metabolism going on through your whole body. Like your liver is doing tons of stuff to try to make your eyes healthy and make your brain healthy and so on. So it makes a lot of sense. But I don't doubt at all that the bed is part of that. But the lutein and zeaxanthin are well known to accumulate in the macula, where they have a very specific role in protecting against macular degeneration. And actually the best source of those is egg yolks from chickens that are fed anything that has them, but marigolds are super high in them. So if they feed the chickens marigolds, they get super high levels. And the egg yolk has fat that helps them get absorbed. So in terms of, I mean, this is you could take this with some eggs, but I
should feed my chickens marigolds.
Yeah, if you have chickens, and if you're spending your money on a lutein zeaxanthin supplement, you might be able to get maybe the marigolds are cheaper. So.
Maybe I'll just double it up.
Yeah.
So this is all the ingredients. Does this stuff make sense? Is something that would help support eyesight?
It does. I mean, the vitamin A is going to. That's going to depend on your genetics in terms of how good are you at converting beta carotene into the form of vitamin A that we need, which is most abundant in liver and egg yolks.
It's dependent on genetics.
So you need beta carotene is this big, and if you chop it in half, you get vitamin A. And so you have an enzyme in your digestive system that does that, but that enzyme is dependent on a lot of things going right. So you need to have good zinc status, good iron status, good thyroid status, and all kinds of stuff like that. And actually, seed oils decrease the conversion. So if you take that with canola oil, you're going to get less vitamin A out of it than if you take it with, eggs and butter. And then vitamin A activation is also dependent on mitochondrial function too. So but it makes sense. Vitamin A is great for your eye. Vitamin C is a great antioxidant. N-acetylcysteine, great antioxidant. The glutathione, the cetria stuff, I'm kind of, I think it's a little bit of a overhyped in terms of some, another type of glutathione I think would have worked fine.
What's the best glutathione?
Well,
is it liposomal?
The best
Does it matter?
glutathione is the glutathione that you make yourself from protein that you eat. But if you're going to supplement with glutathione, if you're talking about bang for the buck, I just think straight up glutathione is good. And there are studies suggesting that there's marginal absorption benefits for certain special types. But then they charge 3 times as much for that type, and it's like, well, am I getting 3 times more glutathione out of it? Not really. So, some people swear by liposomal glutathione, and if you swear by it, and if it does its thing for you, great.
Do you think it's 10% better?
I think the jury is out on whether there might be 10-20% better value for those things. So if I'm going to take glutathione, I'm just going to take glutathione.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Is this what you're saying about producing your own glutathione? That's the same thing as like vitamin D, right? It's way better when your body produces it. If it does.
I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with getting vitamin D from food, but the thing is, you do need sunlight, right? So you at least need to get 30 minutes of sunshine in the morning, which is not going to give you vitamin D. And then you need to get like 10 or 15 minutes of unprotected sunshine in the afternoon you get vitamin D from that, but you get other benefits from it as well. So I wouldn't say that it's necessarily better to get the vitamin D from the sun than from a vitamin D supplement or from eating fish or from eating cod liver oil. But you don't want to say, well, I don't need to go out in the sun. I'm just going to take vitamin D. Then you're not going to get the benefits of the sun because the sun gives you other benefits.
Got it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you can do, say if you live in Seattle and you're in the winter, it's just raining constantly. Is there a tanning bed that gives you some of that?
Yeah, I do think that there is some risk of tanning beds. I'm not 100% when I lived in New York, I would try to spend 40 minutes in the afternoon sunshine for 3/4 of the year. And during the winter, the UV index just wasn't high enough. And I get eczema in the winter because I'm not getting enough sun. And so I would use a tanning bed not to get tan, but I'd use like 2-3 minutes at a time just because it just had a systemic effect in preventing the eczema that I would get in the winter. I think you have to be careful with it because there is some concern that people are just, if they're tanning to tan, they're going to wind up with too much damage to their skin. But what I would do is for morning sunlight, I think you can get like a Lux Meter app and just